Welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Piotr Kowalczyk, and in today's video we are exploring a baritone sax and soprano sax. Turns out there's no much information for music composers and arrangers regarding these instruments. If you are confused as much as we were before this video, you're in a good place. Our goal is to explore this subject together. To feel empowered and emboldened, we have to know the horns well. For the last month, we've been breaking down the horns as individual instruments. Okay? We kind of get to know them in a way. So it's a very painful experience because there's a lot of study, lots of memorizing. But we are about to collect the fruit of our hard work. Having this kind of knowledge, we will be able to look at the piano from totally new perspective. You look at the piano and you see the chord, and then you ask yourself, oh, you know what? That's the note what could sound cool in tenor saxophone. That's the power, that's the gift. Today it's all about baritone and soprano saxophone. Let's take a look. Our baritone sax has been designed to blow the low frequencies. Okay, but before we use it, we have to be aware of certain things. When we think about the baritone, it would be nice to understand the range, what goes from low C all the way to A flat. 2.5 octaves. Okay, in this specific example, we played a unison using a piano, bass, electric bass, and also baritone. How beautifully they complement each other's playing. So this is layering in music, but this range of motion got its own obstacles. The good news is that the baritone saxophone is pretty steady, which means all those regions, you know, when we chop this range into 6 different regions, we realize that they are very solid on most of them, between 2nd and 5th. Let's introduce these areas first. First area, from lower C to E. Second, from F to B, B flat. Third one, from B to E. Next one, from F to B. And next, the next one, from C to F. And now we've got 3 extra semitones, F sharp, and up to A flat. So let's just start with those 3 semitones today. These semitones are like the hardest to control. I'm talking about the sound quality and the possibility of lack of tune. So to blow them well, we need an instrumentalist who actually can handle these notes. So now, if you deal with someone less skilled and you write the music for that person, just avoid that range, just finish around F. Speaking of F, this range between F and F in 2 octaves is pretty even, which is spectacular. Okay, the only difference is that the color slightly changes when we go up. We lose the bottom in the sound, but let me eliminate bass and piano. When we talk about baritone sax, I don't have to worry about its sweet spot, because the sweet spot, it's actually all over the place. Now, there is a specific use of the baritone, and I'm thinking it's like a extra effect in music when we deliver those bottom statement, right? However, the baritone sax can play very fast, no problem. Right now I'm playing it on piano, but I guarantee you there's lots of baritone players who just blow that instrument like, whoa, you wouldn't believe. Just remember, when we blast those lower notes, there is a tiny little delay between when you start the note and note appears. So now I could grab that my playing and just in MIDI sample and move it a tiny bit forward, so basically that accent manifests in the right spot. Just be aware of this. Another thing, be aware that the instrumentalist is gonna use a lot of air, a lot of blow, which means you have to take care of that instrumentalist. How? Creating a shorter phrases. How? Make sure that after each phrase, that musician had a chance to inhale again before the blow. Yeah, stuff like that. Okay, so we established that we've got 3 semitones on top. We've got a beautiful, comfortable, very powerful projection and blendability of that sound across 2 octaves. And then dynamic range can be presented from piano pianissimo to forte fortissimo. Okay, so now when we concentrate on the first area, which is from C to E. Let's add the piano. Okay, so this is the example how we can use the baritone sax in our music. Special effect, boom. The bass notes, boom. Support the bass line, boom. Support the piano bottom, boom. Special accents, percussion instruments, bass, piano, boom, 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 boom. Right? So, and then we can transform that instrument into a soloist. So if we, I'm gonna get rid of that and just play. It could be a great surprise in your music to have such a giant instrument just moving forward and just blasting a wonderful solo. Okay? Just remember, this area is very comfortable and projection is excellent. So you don't have to worry about it. What I worry about the most, it's about the transposition. So most of us think about transposition that way. If I play C, I play A. If I play E, I play C. Right? Major, sixth up. This is excellent. This could work, but with alto saxophone, not the baritone. Because the actual transposition, it's 1 octave up plus major sixth on top. When we work on such a specific videos, we always do our own research. So we surround ourselves with a lot of books and explore the topic we try to present to you. Okay? So you actually benefit from that journey. We came across in this arranging book from Berkeley. It's a workbook for arrangers who want to write music for horns. Why am I laughing? Well, I came across of the 2 pages what describe the baritone saxophone. And these pages makes the argument even more confusing than before we read them. They provide a very basic representation what the baritone sax stands for. And now, and then they ask me to arrange the music for instrumentalists. So I'm kind of confused by the approach because, you know, if you want me to write the music and become a future arranger for big band and so on, you never mention the articulation, you never mention of what's difficult on the instrument. Is it possible to put the glissimos over octave? You know, stuff like that. The fingering, what gives the most trouble of the musician? How about the mouthpiece? And so on, so on. So there's like zero information on it. What even it's more concerning about the approach today, that there is absolutely nothing about soprano saxophone. Unbelievable. They absolutely abandoned that instrument. Zero. No flute, no clarinet, nothing. So I don't understand. How can you charge so much money for the education, and then provide this vague information. The transposition is based on tone and the size. The tone is emerged in waveform and hertz they produce. They all want to use the treble clef. They share the same fingering. From this point, one person can play all the saxes. To keep the same fingering, we have to transpose. This is when the transposition begins. When it comes to the piano, our middle C sounds like this. C3, C2, C1. Let's go the other way. C4, middle C, C5, C6, C7, C8. The lowest note on baritone through the music notation, the concert key, it's C3. But when we switch to baritone, it sounds like the baritone is playing at the same note but one octave lower. So instead of C3, we hear C2. So now let me play C2 on piano. And now I'm gonna compare it to baritone C3. Switch. So from the vibration point of view, I'm sorry, but that's exactly the same note. So I found this explanation. I found another college book what describes this phenomenon as the baritone saxophone is transposing instrument which causes a written note to sound one octave plus a major sixth lower. Its music must be transposed up one octave plus a major sixth from concert sounding pitch. So in the books they mention something called concert sounding pitch. Concert sounding pitch. It's here. We write it down as C3. We hear C2. We see on music paper C3. So that's the biggest obstacle right now. So now the question is, why are we doing it? We write the VST plugin beautifully transposed when I click on the range of motion of that baritone. It beautifully transposes okay, range. So like if you don't need to dig deeper, you're all set. Okay, just enjoy using it. But I'm supposed to write music for that instrument. So now when we look at the range of motion, now it makes total sense. If we switch to piano and now we play baritone, the lowest note, C2, now the range of the instrument makes perfect sense. 2 octaves and a half. You see what I mean? So instead of just playing here, we are playing here. So this That's the range of the instrument we accustomed to hear. But I need to know that to write, to assign this kind of sound, this kind of sound, this kind of sound, by writing it here. I need to know this. I believe they doing it to simplify music writing for that instrument. So we are not, get trapped by additional lines, several. Okay? So this is what we've found so far, but I was right. So many people say major six up, major six up. It's like, okay, that's fine, but I'm very suspicious about it because the sound goes so long, and turns out I was right. So 1 octave plus major sixth, that's the transposition. But because we are rising, that range 1 octave higher, I'm assuming we will just abandon that 1 octave and then concentrate. Because when we look at the music sheet and I say baritone sax music sheet, example, we end up with writing examples which basically fit into that beautiful range of motion we described earlier. Of course, when we talk about tenor goes 1 octave plus major second, but that's another story for another day. So this is the baritone. When I play B flat on piano, the soprano saxophonist is gonna play C. The range of motion from E flat all the way to D. So we are talking about 2 octaves and perfect fourth, and augmented fourth. Now, when we look at the chart of music and try to do research through what others think about it, they go all the way to E in the range of soprano sax. So I'm not sure if it's the truth. So please let us know about it. But going up to D, it's pretty high already. Once we get better writing or working with soprano sax, we could develop this idea, we could memorize the range of motion as a 2 octave range from B flat to B flat. Okay? The soprano gives the most intonation trouble for musician. There's so much love in the air. The sound can be extremely beautiful, very silky, right? But if we cannot control the intonation with the abdomen and the mouthpiece and the lip control, we could end up with a lot of trouble. All these saxophones, all these pads, fingering, you could play a beautiful effect without blowing into the instrument. It's just, it's the instrument already plays, right? You just cover those holes with your fingers. And all of a sudden you make the sound, the not only melodic sound, but acoustic sound by doing so. So that's another insight based on the observation. Let's take a listen, baritone and soprano saxophone play together. Today we are presenting them in a slightly different way. Soprano more melodic way, and our melody is gonna play between that fundamental bass groove played by the baritone sax. So that's the relationship between baritone sax and soprano. Congas. It's all come down to your vision. Your vision describes how you're going to use that specific instrument. Soprano right now, it's like kind of independent, playing some melodies and dancing around on top of the range. Baritone stays low and provides that blow entertainment, right? Then cohesively they interact with each other, but I could very easily just copy and paste baritone sax and give it to soprano by playing it in octaves, no problem. So this is just the approach. Now, of course, we are dealing only with baritone now and soprano, which is two extreme circumstances, right? Between, we've got alto, we've got tenor. We also introduced in the previous videos tenor trombone and B-flat trumpet. So now, if we start using them all together, it's just we may end up with very interesting situations. So now, on top, in red, we have a whole horn section. Let's take a listen. Let's take a listen it without the echo. And of course, we are dealing with lots of mistakes, like these punches, I could very easily dive into the editing mode and just explore other harmonic movements. They repeat the same thing, but I could jump with voicings up and down and create some interesting impact and also polish it rhythmically as well. But this video, it's not about that today. Let's bring this echo back for some unexplained reason. And now we're going to hear the same music with the rhythm section. Okay, so now let's bring the baritone sax and soprano into that play. This chapter of our study, it's painful because we spent, each video it's different instruments and so on. But slowly we are moving to the area when we start introducing them as whole, talk about the range as whole, talk about how they exist on a piano as whole, and then how we can use these notes and submit these notes into these specific horns. So the fun is coming soon, I promise. All right, let's take a listen, the whole thing, the way it is, for our own entertainment. My name is Piotr Kowalczyk. I will see you next time.